participants from different countries like Colombia, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and Malaysia, and participants from different parts of India. Once again, I welcome each one of you present here. Thank you. Now, I invite our Madam Principal, Dr. V. Sujata, who is the source of inspiration to conduct this national level webinar on gender sensitization, and welcome you, ma'am. Please felicitate the function, ma'am.
Yes,
thank you, ma'am.
The most distinguished resource person, Dr. G. Uma, Assistant Professor, School of Gender and Development Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, Delhi, and Dr. G. Matilda, Head Department of Social Work, and all the organizers, beloved participants. Once again, I would like to welcome you all, and I express my own happy morning also. I'm really very much moved with Dr. Matilda's activities, and she is nicely doing all the activities, and particularly the Department of Social Work, and whatever the webinar conducted is the need of the hour today. Today's topic also very interesting and very useful. During this COVID period, whatever activities we are doing definitely will support our women folk, and being the resource person today, very excellent and very efficient resource person, and we have today, and I hope Dr. Uma's program is going to be very useful to all the participants, particularly international participants also joined today. And I express my own felicitation, and I congratulate Dr. G. Matilda and the organizers and all the participants. And I express once again my deepest sense of gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. G. Uma. Thank you, madam, and thank you, Matilda and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for the felicitation and your encouraging words for us. Sure, we will continue this in the future also, ma'am. I assure you our department will take the pinnacle of glory, our college, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I invite Dr. G. Uma, the resource person of today, to take over the session.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Uma. Good morning to you all. First of all, my heartfelt thanks to you all for providing this opportunity and share my views. I'm Dr. G. Uma, working as an assistant professor in the School of Gender and Development Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Our school specifically, they have created to work on the gender issues. We work both theoretical as well as the practice, practically how the gender issues can be dealt with. Today, my presentation is sex role, stereotyped behavior, and women's rights. Like when you look at this topic, you must be wondering what is sex role, stereotyped behavior, and women's rights, how it affects us and all. I have prepared the PPT. I will start presenting my lecture. Should I present it or?
The present, madam.
Ma'am,
yes. Also we need to do it.
Ma'am, if you want, us, we will present, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, I will do it. Ma'am, I will do it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
I think it is not coming, ma'am. You need to present it. I will use that.
Yes, ma'am. Our department will present it, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, before let them start presenting it, just I would like to know, before I start this session, just I would like all of you to think about the difference between sex and gender. This is the basic definition we all must understand. What is the difference between sex and gender? Actually, when we talk about sex, it is a biological difference. Like if you look at any individual, we all think that either they're born as a male or female. But apart from male and female, due to this certain chromosomical, like for example, you all know, due to the XY chromosomes, The human beings either born as male or female. Okay. So apart from male and female, there is other genders also, like LGBTQ communities. So sex is a biological difference. Any individual, if they born, either they born as a male or female. Do you agree? I hope all of you to agree. Okay, like either they born as a male or female, but there are Hello. Yes.
Ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I got the presentation. So first we.
Hello.
Hello.
Participants, kindly mute your microphone.
Good morning, everyone.
Please mute your microphone. The
Hello.
chief guest is addressing. Please.
Okay, we know there is a difference between sex and gender. Sex is the biological difference between male and female at the very basic level. So as I have already said, human beings are either born as a male or female, but although we all know very small segment of babies, they born as a mixed anatomical distributions. This biological difference, that is the chromosomical differences, that is XY or XX chromosomes, it is basically a biology, and based on this biology, individuals, human beings, they get a certain biological and physical features. That is fine. But what about gender? What is gender? Okay, any child, if a child is born, immediately we as a family, as a society, immediately we try to find out male or a female. Okay, if the child is born as a female, how the society treats? They immediately treat, okay, it's a female child. They have to socialize in a certain way, dolls, pink color dress. Okay, then some society, if the child is born as a girl, immediately they became so sad. Oh God, we got a girl child. So if there is a boy, because of this boy, then family will be too happy. They started celebrating. They buy blue color dress or they buy certain kinds of toys. Why it is happening? Where did we get all these differences? Okay, that is very important. Next slide, ma'am. Where do we get these differences? That we must understand. Basically, these gender differences, sex is, one must understand that sex is purely a biological differences. Apart from biological differences, where do we get these other differences? That we must understand that gender is purely a socialization process. When the child is born, immediately, not only the biological differences, the society try to construct that child in a certain way. Girl means, okay, she has to behave in a certain way. The society expects her to do certain things and expect her to behave in a certain way. Due to this socialization process, we always expect the child to behave in a certain way, so that when the child born, the society, family, all the social institutions make her to behave and act in a certain way. That is the first difference. So when we talk about the differences, sex is a biological difference, leave it. Gender is the socialization process. This socialization process imposed on the individuals. Okay, because of the imposed on individual, we can change the gender, but sex can be changed due to the medical interventions. That is different story. So gender is a socialization process where the society imposed certain things on an individual, that they have to behave in a certain way, this way, that way. So like the women means they should be adopt certain very feminine qualities. They should be they should not speak loudly. They have to can I move the slides? I cannot move the slides.
Yes,
I don't know. I could not operate from here. I don't know.
Excuse me, participants.
Maybe I will present now.
Ma'am, you're presenting now?
Yes, I am presenting.
Okay, ma'am.
Cancel it, ma'am, because I could not operate this presentation.
Then we will do it, ma'am. We are doing it, ma'am.
Okay. Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So next slide. Unlike sex, gender is a socially constructed. How this social construction happens? That I already told you. Once the child is born, family, these are the social structures, family, society, other socio-cultural practices that determines the sex of the child. Okay, the clothing, behavior, social role, position, identity, responsibility. In this way, gender is constructed. Next slide, ma'am. Okay, so we can change the gender. Okay, for example, now certain stereotypes. If a girl means she is dependent, she is weak, incompetent. This is the existing assumptions, existing things happened in the society. Again and again, we impose these qualities on women and certain qualities on male. Male means we consider as a independent, powerful. They can do whatever they want. They are competent, and also women is emotional. Male is logical. See, when you look at these common stereotypes, these stereotypes not only reflect in the family or certain social institutions, it reflects when it goes to education also. For example, when you look at these common stereotypes, emotional and logical, you can easily, if a girl child means they are good in literature or certain very soft, like for example, girl is a caring, so then they are very good in certain professions like a nursing or primary school teacher. If the men are logical, then they are very good in mathematics and they are good in engineering. If any family, if you look at any one girl child and female child, girl child and female child or female child and male child is there, when it comes to the education of the both male and female, so family usually they consider sending the male into certain professional degree and female into degree. Simple arts college, that too not in a physics or chemistry or mathematics, but they give preference to social science or humanities. So all these stereotypes like independent decision makers. And second thing, see, look at housekeepers or breadwinners, supporters or leaders. That's why if you look at the politics also, we could able to see that in politics, most of the time we considered as a politics is the male's profession, and all if you want to go to politics, it's purely on male can only do the politics. That's why when we look at the percentage of women in the parliament and state assembly, we could see very, very less percentage of women they are occupying. But that is it a good sign? No, it is not good sign. If there is a less women like parliament and state assemblies, that is a very important decision making bodies. In that decision making bodies, if there are very less women occupy in the decision making bodies, we must think that what will happen. Whatever the decisions they take, whatever the policies they make, it certainly reflects the male's perspective. So look at all these common stereotypes again and again imposed on male and female. Why do they impose these things? Ma'am, next slide. Why do they impose? If, for example, in some society, even if you look at in the 21st century, we could see that we are talking about liberalism, equality, and equity, all these concepts we are talking about. Still, have you ever looked at the matrimonial ad published in the newspapers? If you see, matrimonial advertisement would show, even though educated and modern women, still they add one more word, slim, fair. Now the fair they are not using, still more educated, modern, but homely women. What is the reason? Just I mentioned about the difference between sex and gender. Small exercise. All of you can, we are here around 200 people. All of you can make a small exercise. This to understand the difference between sex and gender. Like if you go and ask expectant mothers, like whether do you want to expect a girl child or a boy child? If they give preference to the girl child, you can ask them, why do you want to have a girl child? If they want a male child, just request them to give the reasons. I can clearly, in my research experience, I can confidently say that around 90 to 99% of the women or the family, they expect to have a male child. What is the main reason? How this socialization is happening? Why this socialization is happening? That is the first thing we need to understand. Next slide. Okay, for this reason, we need to understand the gender roles and social construction. I was talking about the social construction. Social construction is the what I am telling you about the socialization process. Actually, this socialization process, if you take men and women, they perceive their own characteristics, roles, and responsibilities in a particular way, which does not flow them based on the perceived differences. That is the so. These roles difference is based on the cultural expectations surrounding in the social system. Small example I'll tell you. Most of the societies, we expect, okay, when we get married, we expect male should be, the age of the male should be little higher than the age of the female. When there are two of them and they get married, one group of anthropologists, they went for a data collections in the remote villages in Rajasthan. This is the true story. They went to Rajasthan to collect. There, in one village, they witnessed the one marriage. In that marriage, that girl is 10 years older than that bridegroom. They asked, how come it is possible? Because the girl is 10 years older than the male person. Then they were wondering. In turn, that villagers, they asked, does it happen in your places and all? It's very common. Here, whenever we get married, we get older women only. 5 years, 10 years older women only, we get married. It's a regular practice in our society. That is what they have said. So this gender role is, it's like we are perceiving in a certain way that culture, society, all the social institutions, they perceived and they expect us to act in a certain way. That's why, like again and again, if you behave in a different way, then the society will ask you. This is not the societal expectations. You are not behaving what the society expects. So you cannot change your characters or you cannot change the expectations of the society. But social gender, we can change the gender. For example, 10-20 years before, if there is a girl, if she wants to become a pilot, mostly it is like a rare profession. Nobody will become a pilot, and it's a very rare. Even family also, they don't allow her, because the profession, it's like she has to, if she became an international pilot, she has to fly in a different countries, she has to travel a lot. The society won't accept her to become a pilot. But currently, if you take the data in the present situations, the women pilots, the percentage of women pilot is much higher than male pilots in India. How this has happened? So we must understand the first difference between the sex and gender. See, mere biological difference doesn't mean that we have to impose certain things on female. That is not good. That is, we cannot impose women on to certain things. Okay, so first we need to understand the difference between the biological differences and societal expectations. The socialization process is basically the society expects the women to do certain things and they impose certain roles on male and female. Like another best example I can give you is that male is always considered as a breadwinner, female is always considered as a caretaker. The women, they are supposed to take care of the entire family, and male, he is expected to go out, earn and take care of the entire family. This is also another socialization process. That's why we again and again impose certain things that it's like even in every society. Male supposed to go out, earn and take care of. But in the 21st century, if you look at it, even though both male and female, they are going out and working, what will happen? Even if she goes out, earn also, but who will come and do the work? Again, she is expected to do the caring activities also. Caring of the children, caring of the elder, caring of the entire family. The examples you can say, if anyone fell sick in the family, it is responsibility of the female in the family to take care of the entire burden. Okay, so what will happen if she wants to, if the society expecting her to do the entire caring activities, it is very difficult for her to it is very difficult for her to concentrate on professional career. That's why always there is the break in the women's career. Okay, second thing is the woman is triply burdened. First is she is expected to do entire gender roles in the personal space, that is the home, caring of the children, caring of the entire elderly people, and she has to fulfill the responsibility of she has to ensure the food and other basic necessity of the everyone in the household. Second thing is how she is triply burdened. If she is expected to go out and work, means again she is burdened. Then she is expected to fulfill certain community managed roles. So how the society is expecting certain roles from the male and certain roles from the female. So gender can be altered. How can we alter? If they both male and female, if they are working, if they are doing every activities, very well they can share the household responsibilities. It can be. So sex, we cannot alter the sex differences, but gender can be certainly altered. For understanding further in this terms, we need to understand another term that is called patriarchy. It's very important. Patriarchy we need to understand. patriarchy is nothing but it is a rule of the father. Okay, actually, rule of the father means patriarchy. It's a domination of the male members. Okay, how this domination happen? First, we need to understand how the societies developed over a period of time. When there is a hunting-gathering society, like they were everywhere, they moved from one place to other place. Just they search the food, they found, they eat, and they mobile. They are mobile in one place to other places. Over the period of time, they have settled in one place. They started doing the certain agricultural activities. When they started doing the agricultural activities, this I can explain with the example of African agricultural pattern, that this was studied by the one economist, Dutch economist. According to her, she found that in Africa, the land is, it's like vast stretch of the land is available in Africa, but population is very less now also. What happened now, when the large percentage of availability of the land, usually male in the society, they try to clear the land. That's all. That is their role's end. Just to work in their, whatever the land they clear, to make it do the agricultural activities, they marry 2, 3, polygamy is very, very common in African agricultural societies. They can marry any number of women just to work in the field. So when the main role of the female is to, whatever the land cleared by the male members, they work in the field, they grow the food crops in that field. They not only grow the food crops, they ensure the food security of the entire family. Over a period of time, what happened? No, when this agriculture pattern was changed due to the colonization and due to the introduction of the modern agricultural systems. Modern agricultural system is when the colonizers, like how the Britishers, they colonized India. In most of the African countries was also colonized by the many Europeans. When they colonized the African countries, they introduced the modern agriculture pattern. They not only introduced the modern agricultural pattern, they introduced so many cash crops. Slowly, the agriculture, people who are doing agricultural activities in Africa, they shifted from food crops to cash crops. When they shifted the growing of food crops to growing of cash crops, what happened? No? Here also, due to the modern agricultural techniques, so many agricultural instruments, they started concentrating on agricultural activities. Instead of growing the food crops, they started growing the cash crops. So once they started growing the cash crops and using the various agricultural instruments, they grow and immediately directly they took it to the market and they sold and they exchanged the whatever the agricultural crops they grew, they exchanged with the cash. This directly affected the female, not only affected the female, it challenged the food security of the entire family. The first one is that in this process, the women lost the control over the land. Second thing, because the male is growing only the cash crops, the entire family lost the food security of they lost the food security. So here we must understand from this example that once the society started settling in the one place and they started growing the agriculture, first one is that they started controlling the land. Once they started controlling the land, what happened? They started growing certain agricultural activities. In the initial period, they both male and female, they contributed for the agricultural activities. Over the period of time, when the shifting of the pattern, the agriculture growing, the crop, the shifting of the crop, the pattern of agricultural activities, once they started changing, most of the land rights, control of the land, slowly the females in the society, they lost the control of the land. Totally, male in the society, they gained over the land. Not only they gained over the land, they started controlling the female members in the society. They control the female members in the society just to work in the agriculture field and also taking care of the family. Okay, now also in few African countries like Tanzania, like polygamy it's very well like practiced, but whenever there is a problem, the male members, they just left the family and they go out. The females, they are supposed to take care of the entire family, and the entire family's burden became part of the female. Okay, now no need to go to Africa. Just I will explain the example of these COVID situations. Okay, now all of you must be seeing so much of migration in India. What happened in these migrations? Just we look at the newspaper and television channels. So people are migrating from the urban areas to their own rural areas, and they are migrating the entire family. But before that, you must see, when the globalization was introduced in India in 1991, what happened? Most of our urban areas, they started growing very rapidly. Okay, so most of the employment opportunities slowly, basically in our country, agriculture in the beginning, 1947, when we got an independence, agricultural activities are the prime activities. It provided the employment opportunities more than 70% of the people in the country. Over a period of time, contribution of the agriculture to our GDP has come down. Then secondary, like the manufacturing and service sector's contribution to our GDP has increased. Mostly this service sector and manufacturing sector, it was located in the urban areas. These contributions, both service and manufacturing sector's contribution has been increased over a period of time. In 1991, before 1991, India has a very protected economy. That is, we called as license Raj, where it's like entire economy, entire market is controlled by the government. When we opened up our economy in the 1991, both service sector and manufacturing sectors, it has grown rapidly. The contribution of the agriculture to our GDP has come down. This manufacturing, the growth of manufacturing and service sector has had a direct and indirect impact on the entire society. Most of these service sector and manufacturing sectors are located in the cities. What happened to people in search of job? Most of the people, they have migrated from rural to urban areas because they found very less opportunities in the agricultural activities. When this migration has happened, not only that, for example, this one construction sector. Okay, so people, there are two types of migrations. One migration is that some people, they got migrated, the entire family, they got migrated from rural to urban areas. In some places, only male members, most of the time, only male members, they got migrated from rural to urban area. What will happen if the only male members, if they go to urban areas in search of job, entire families, the first we need to understand that burden of the entire families in the female. They are expected to do agricultural activities. If the family has a small plot of land and she has to do the agricultural activities, apart from doing the agricultural activities, she has to take care of the entire family, the children, everybody. The migrated male members, she doesn't have any idea whether the migrated male members will send certain remittance amount to the family or not. It is uncertainty. There is no certainty in that. Okay, so it is the entire family's burden. It's in the hands of the female members. That is the first we need to understand. For example, if the entire family got migrated, most of the time they join in the informal sector. Now you must be seen that most of the people, They again the reverse, they call it as a reverse migration. They went back to their own village like a family. So who are they? Where did they work? The entire migrant population, unskilled migrant population, mostly they joined in the informal sector. If you look at the informal sector of the GDP contribution, more than 60% of our GDP comes from the informal sector. They are unskilled or semi-skilled, both male and female. They join in the informal sector in the urban areas. When you join, for example, I can give you one example of construction sector. If they join as a construction worker in the urban areas, here also there is a differences between the work. Mostly male members in the construction sector, they act as a supervisor. Females, they do all physical activities. But there is a wage difference between the male and female also. That is the first thing. Second thing, as a female in the construction sector, they are like sometimes mostly they have to satisfy their male members just to stay on the work. So they face certain kinds of sexual or gender-based violence. Okay, that is the first example. You can elaborate. You can just think about how the construction sector operates. The first I gave an example of construction sector. Second one is the migration. Third best example is that globalization. You need to understand how the contemporary society is. The globalization, if you look at the globalization, we enter into the globalized economy in the year of 1991. Another example I can tell you is that this manufacturing, only we can see the example of textile sector. You can see like Bangalore, Tirupur, or in Punjab, in some places, most of the places, even in near Delhi, Noida, these places are the textile hubs. Okay, in this textile hubs, the government has established the special economic zones for the manufacturing sector. If you go and look at this textile sector, you could easily see that large number of female they working in this textile sector. So first thing is that why the large number of females are working in special economic zones. Today's newspaper also, there is the women in the textile sector in Karnataka. They have protested because they didn't get the payment for past 3 months, and most of the time, most of the women, they are going to lose their jobs. Okay, why the large number of these type of special economic zones? Why are they observing the large number of females as a textile workers? First thing is that as a female, the society assumes that they work for a long hours and they don't unionize and they don't protest. Okay, so even they work for 10-12 hours, the company can pay very less. Okay, so how the women are exploited. And also as already said, when I talk about the difference between the sex and gender, I was discussing about the male are considered as a breadwinner and female are considered as a caretaker. Because of this caretaker breadwinner model, always the women are considered as it's like whatever they earn, it will add extra income to the family. It is not main income for the family. So when they think about the women can work and that will add certain extra income for the family, so that this socialization process, it reflects the every field. Even textile, I gave an example, like large number of female, they work in the textile sector, still they earn very less, they will be paid very less, and they cannot get unionized, and they cannot raise their voice. Okay, so this, when you look at all these examples, whatever the gender differences, gender roles imposed at the private space. Private space means it's a family that reflect in the public spaces also. The women, due to the societal expectations, they are expected to perform certain roles in the family. Like they are caring, entire caring activities of the family, caring of the elders, caring of the children, cooking, taking care of the entire family, cleaning, ensure that there is a entire comfort is for they must ensure that their family members, all their family members' comfort should be ensured. Whatever they perform, they are expected to perform in the private space. Same, it's reflected in the public space. In the private space, society expects the female to do certain activities. Same, we think that they can do only same type of activities. That's why we expect women as a nurse or like primary school teachers, even in the textile work or construction work also. So wherever they work, always we never considered the female on par with the male members in the society. How these gender roles are imposed due to the socialization process. How the socialization process? This socialization process over a period of time, generation after the generation, that the society expects, it is imposed certain activities on male and certain activities on female. If anyone in the society, if they refuse to do this, some kinds of activities, we consider as they are not fulfilling the expectations of the society, then the society resort certain kinds of violence on women. That's why gender-based violence we are talking about, because of the gender roles, expected gender roles. If anyone in the society refuse to oblige the society's expectations, they need to face these certain kinds of violence. Okay, what kinds of violence? For example, I talked about due to this in the 21st century, we are in the market-based economy. In that market-based economy, we think that the market, basically this globalization and market, we expect that market will provide the equal opportunities for the both and male and female. Okay, basically, why do we need to go for a privatizations? Why? Because the market, we assume that the market won't differentiate based on sexes, and market provide the opportunities and they treat everybody equal. But that is not true. When you explore further how the market treats, here you need to differentiate between the public and private space. Private space is the family and public space is the market. How this market treats. For example, like cinema, advertisement. These are the part of the societal institutions. How the society, how cinema imposes us, how they project male. Male means they do all kinds of activities and they are expected to taking care of the female members in the society, sisters, wife and mother. Okay, how the society, and also these televisions and advertisement, what did they do? And they bring certain images in our minds. They show female as they should be look very thin, lean, and they have to carry themselves in a certain way. Okay, and like market also, they use female as a commodity. By using female as a commodity, they try to sell the certain products. Dress means they have to wear in a certain way. They eat means they have to eat in a certain way. Okay, so each and every here, the gender roles, we need to understand that each and every social institutions, family, market, society, even marriage also, I gave one example. Educated, but still slim, homely girl. What is that? And also, even if she is educated also, the family expects that if the groom's family, if the bride's family, if they, male members in the family, if they accept, then she can pursue her career or she can go for a job. Or after the marriage, if they don't want her to continue her profession, she is supposed to leave her profession. So every social institutions, we can see that one by one, every social institutions, like because of the time constraints, I'm quickly giving an example, otherwise I can explain further each and every component. So every social institutions, they expect the female to perform certain roles and male to perform certain roles. We think that these roles cannot be reversed. Cooking means we expect that female has to do. But same cooking, male members, they can do in a professional way. Why can't they reverse these roles? Same thing, male is a breadwinner. Even though if they both of them they work, we never consider female also a breadwinner. That's why when it comes to women-headed family, it is very difficult to accept women as a head of the family. Even in our census, till 1991 census, even census officials, they don't have any gender sensitization. Okay, family means headed by the male member. After 1991 census only, the government, they have sensitized the male members, all census officials, that it is not only the male members are the head of the family, even female can also be a head of the family. Okay, so these gender roles, they expected gender roles imposed due to our patriarchy. Patriarchal, due to patriarchy means it is the rule by the father, rule by the father, because of the, like when they, from hunting gatherers to when they became a pastoral society, when they settled in one place, when they started like owning the lands, they considered, I gave you an African example, they consider in the beginning, they consider, and polygamy was very much prevalent to work in their own field. Okay, and they work, the females, food security was ensured. Over a period of time, how they owned the land, they started owning the female members also. They started controlling the female members. Okay, that's why it's like the society, when they shifted from hunting gatherer to the agricultural activities, from agriculture to market economy, now also we impose the same kinds of rules. So this gender can be altered, we can change it. Unlike a sex, this can be changed. When the male can cook as a profession, why can't they cook at home? When they, like for example, another example. See, if the female, they can, like for taking care of the children. Okay, both male and female, they take care of the children. At the age of 21st century, like if they both work, we can consider both are the breadwinners of the family. Both male and female the breadwinners of the family. Okay, these things, rational, irrational, women are emotional, and male are the intellectual. All these are the societal impositions. They are imposed certain things on male, they impose certain things on female. If anybody is trying to alter these gender roles, they consider as they are violating the existing societal principles. That is the first thing we need to understand, that gender role is part of the socialization process and this is expected roles. These roles can be altered. Second one is how the violence has happened in the society. Just I need to explain little further. Like for example, with regard to violence, I have talked about at the age of 21st century, in the 21st century, in the globalized economy, most of the time male and female, they go out and they work in various fields. Okay, But no, when you look at the data, you could see that most of the women, they work in the informal sector. Informal sector, basically, they don't have any assurance for the job. Rarely they like, for example, like it is like informal sector. Every day they may get an opportunity to work, or they may not get an opportunity to work. There is no job guarantee for any individual if they work in the informal sector. That is the first thing. Most of the women, they work in the informal sector in the cities, or either as an agricultural workers in the rural areas. That is the first thing. Second thing, the violence, gender-based violence. Why do they, like females, they face the lots of gender-based violence? For example, in this COVID situation also, recently in the beginning itself, in the COVID, not only in India, in the Europe also, during this COVID situations, the violence among women have increased. Gender-based violence has increased many-fold. What is the main reason? The reason is that as a family also, women, they expected to perform certain roles in the family. During this COVID situation also, even if they both male and female, they work from home, or if they both of them, together they will be at home, but still the women, they are expected to all type of activities at the private space, at the home. Okay, if they refuse to do male members in the family, they resort certain kinds of violence. That is the first thing.
Now I invite Mr. P.L. Rani, Assistant Professor in the Department of Social Work and one of the program coordinator, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My have been asked to propose a vote of thanks Center for Women's Studies, Kaveri College. Thanks to the Honorable President for this topic on valid time of our business. On the back of the dynamic principle as a pillar and motivating factor for that. Matter is anticipating the head of the department, Dr. B. Madalda Bhuvaneshwari, social work for support. Who's always supporting us. And I must thank our faculty members in the Department of Social Work for extending support and to this level. I must thank the people who are behind this webinar for the success of this webinar. Thank you all, and I must thank all the participants for participation, for their queries and their involvement in this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for everybody.
Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation, ma'am. It was so a wonderful session being with you and spending time with the participants, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You can leave the session.
Okay, thank you.